Kavita Sahai. Thank you for joining us today. CEO of K Sahai, which is a lovely brand. I think that the design that you've put into it and the energy on your site is very powerful. So I would love to hear everything that's gone into developing this. How many years has it been now that you've been running this company?
So I've been running my own brand for about 2 years, but I've
Mhm.
been in the industry for over a decade.
Right.
So it's it's been a long journey of wellness. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's so fun to get to talk about it.
Oh, of course. And this is not the first industry you've been involved in. So, how did you get involved in the wellness industry?
Yeah, so you're right. So I started my career actually in mergers and acquisitions and defense and aerospace, and this is like post 9/11, so it was kind of a
Mhm.
crazy time, and I'm also dating myself, but yeah, I saw Pretty Woman and I thought, gosh, I want to do that, which is I wanted to be Richard Gere, and he
Mhm.
bought and sold companies, and so someone sort of told me that that was the path, and so I did defense and aerospace, and I did technology investments. I got my master's, and then I did consumer products turnaround. And during that time, I had basically 10 home cooked meals, and I never saw my family and lived on
Mhm.
probably more coffee than water, and
Mhm.
didn't realize that that does something to your health.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's necessarily something that comes up in blood work, or it's not something that you really notice. It's subtle things
Mhm.
like brain fog and just not feeling very energetic. And
Mhm.
like not having good sleep, not having good digestion. All of these things weren't coming up on any blood work, but I knew something was off.
Yeah, but it almost becomes your new normal, huh? You get used to it.
It does. It's crazy how we can get accustomed to this less than vibrant health, and it was my normal. Like having post-it notes that were like pick up your kid, like that was normal.
Mhm.
That
Right.
was my new normal.
Yeah.
But I have this thing where I just talk to everybody, and I happened to be speaking with someone who's trying to sell me insurance. And I told her, I was like, oh my God, I'm having all this brain fog. I don't know what's wrong with me. My blood work is normal, but I don't feel good. And so I was like, maybe this life insurance is good timing. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, there's this botanist who's right up the street from us. You should just go talk to her." And I was pretty desperate because I was related to so many physicians, being Indian, right? Just my entire family,
I know a
basically.
lot of Sahai doctors.
Yeah, I'm probably related to them.
Yeah, probably.
So I went and visited her, and she gave me the oils. And because I didn't realize I had a leaky gut, a lot of the things I had been taking just weren't absorbing. So all the
Mhm.
supplements and vitamins, and my body was unable to absorb it. But essential oils, because they can go right into your bloodstream, I did feel the effects of it. And so I started to feel better. And within some time, I used it on my son who was having some reactive airway issues, and he started to feel better, like to the point that
Mhm.
he was off prescription meds in about 6 months. So it was like,
Oh.
oh, what is this witch oil, right? It's this magic.
Yeah. So this was all before you were involved as far as business, right?
Correct, correct. And
Nice.
so I came in, I could tell she wasn't doing very well in her business, but I was like, look, let me come in. I do turnaround companies all the time. I can come in. I really believe in this, and I think the whole world needs to have it. And
Yeah.
so helped her grow that, or, sold millions of units. I felt really good about putting these good products, learned a lot about the
Yeah.
industry because it's very crowded and there's a lot of bad information. And I think that's ultimately the biggest problem because everything has essential oils and you don't know the quality and you don't know who's formulating it. And both of those things are incredibly, incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I really, became passionate about it. And so even after it sold, I thought, okay, my journey's over, right? I'm going to figure out what the next thing is. And then I find myself on this plane again, talking to the person next to me. And she was this ridiculously credentialed aromatherapist who had studied, gotten her master's in aromatic medicine. And so
Nice.
by the end of the flight, I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this again.
Yeah. That was the universe
um,
talking to you
it
there. You
was, it
can't get out of it
was.
that easily, huh?
No, no, my time was not done. And so I decided to just really embrace it and within put my own name on the brand as well and become more of like natural wellness as well as natural beauty because I started to see some holes in that industry and our skin is our biggest organ. So a lot of what we put on it is absorbed. And so that makes me think, oh, well, what are we putting on it? And as I looked, I was not very happy.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
that started
So
that journey as well.
this is all for aromatherapy and topical use, right?
Correct. Correct. I
Uh-huh.
actually don't suggest any internal use.
Yeah, and why is that?
If you think about essential oil, one drop is about 1 pound of plant material. So it's probably 50 to 70 times more potent than like an herb you'd get from your garden. And so
Mhm.
it's really just too potent to be
Mhm.
ingested. It can really do some harm, especially if it's not done correctly under the right supervision. So in other countries, they actually regulate that and you'll get it, you could get it
Oh,
safely through a pharmacist. But here
oh
we're
wow.
like, just your friend selling it could give it to you and they could
Yeah,
tell you what to do.
yeah.
And it really is very powerful and very potent, especially if it's high quality. And you want to use it under the supervision of an aromatherapist or
Yeah.
someone who really understands what they're doing.
That makes sense. The most familiar I am with essential oils is peppermint, and that can certainly burn if you put in the wrong places and use too much and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it is
Yeah.
important to have some guidance along with this as well. So you sought
Exactly.
the guidance and you had the business knowledge and expertise, and you were able to combine those and make this beautiful brand. I'm so glad that you used your name behind the brand, K Sahai, because watching a video of you just talking about it, your energy is exactly what the brand is representing. So I thought that was very important and also not easy to, be comfortable with doing or even think about doing initially, putting your name behind a product like that. And
Yeah.
this is something that will probably last longer than you and I. So in terms of legacy, that's very powerful too, because you'll carry on with your effect in this world and making it a brighter place for a very long time. What is the thought behind involving these quizzes within the website? Because I really enjoyed finding that.
I really wanted it to be easy and effortless and really help people start on this journey of self-discovery because I really think that's what it was for me. It was a very long journey of self-discovery back to nature and my own inner nature. And so I felt like this gave people a fun way to interact. And so, we have a soul quiz, and that's really about your energy type and if you're into astrology and how best to take care of yourself because how one person takes care of themselves, like running might really feed their soul. And if I had to run, I would just be dying, right?
Yeah, that makes two of us.
So I'm more of a yoga person, but
Yeah, nice.
there is that difference, and a lot of it has to do with your energy. And so, really, the point is that everybody should be vibrating at as high of a frequency as possible. And that's really what, like, when you're happy, when you walk into a room where everyone's joyous and you can feel your energy being lifted, it's that sort of effect, right? Like, how do you? And similarly, you can walk into a room and and it can really drain your energy. And so, really, there is this: how do we keep our energy vibrating at this higher frequency? Because one, it's contagious
Yes.
and two, it feels good. And so
Mhm.
human design is really about doing the things to help your energy while also connecting you with the oils because nature naturally vibrates at a very high frequency. That's why forest bathing is really popular, right? And
Mhm.
they say being in nature, even just looking at nature, even if it's a picture,
Yeah.
has that effect. So when you connect yourself to pure potent oils that you apply, it really helps with that frequency, along with many different self-care techniques that, we talk about depending on your energy type. And then we have the skin quiz, which is because we do a custom oil. So one of the things I discovered in my journey is that Mother Nature is so incredible that the botanicals that are best for you are usually grown in the land of your ancestors.
Oh, wow.
So being Indian, like coconut and almond oils tend to be really good for my skin. And someone from Africa, marula oil might be a little bit better. And that's not to say we don't use them across different people, but just sometimes we just put a little bit more thought. And so when we built the AI around it, we're like, it really does kind of matter where you're from, your skin type, and then your goal in formulating that oil, plus the freshness, right? Because right now, if you think about it, anything you put on your face is sold in a really tiny little bottle. And so
Mhm. Right.
you don't want half of that to be preservatives and all the things you have to make it last for years on a shelf.
Right.
If it could just be pure botanicals made just for you versus made for everyone, like how incredible and powerful could that be? And then could we make it one step beauty versus 10-step beauty?
Yeah, nice. And so, as far as the cruelty free, GMO free, vegan sustainability factor, is that all new to Kesa High, or are those some qualities that were consistent in the previous business you were involved with?
Those were always consistent. So I had gotten my master's at Berkeley and a lot of good social business practices practices was just a part of my,
Mhm.
I would say, upbringing, if you will. And so
Right.
there wasn't going to be a company I worked for that where that wasn't going to be true.
Nice. Very good. And then how many employees do you have with K Sahai? Is it a large company?
So it's not a large company, and we do a lot with like our manufacturing. We don't own the manufacturer, though we own the formulas and things like that. But we have about
Mhm.
14 employees.
Okay. So when it's a smaller work environment, that gives you the opportunity to make sure that people are prioritizing their own health within your business as well, right? And I've met so many CEOs that you can just see that the fact that they prioritize their own health and their own self-care, it has kind of a trickle down effect, and it fosters this healthy environment within the workplace as well. Is there anything specifically that you ask of your employees or try to guide them towards that helps them maintain their own health?
Yeah. So one of the things I wish I had realized is there's hundreds of little things you can do throughout your day to lower your stress. And
Yes.
whenever you lower your stress, that's you're just going to be happier and again vibrating at that higher frequency.
Mhm.
And so I always give lots of tools. So of course there's the oils, there's tapping, there's affirmations, and my most favorite is breathing, right?
Me
Taking
too.
intentional deep breaths.
Hmm.
And so I always offer all of these tools as a sense of like, we should practice it. We should, you should do it. Tell me how you feel. And stress is a very open conversation because we really believe that that's the primary cause of most disease and inflammation and the things, right? It's really created by the mind. And so
Hmm.
if we can help people get these tools to, again, keep that at bay, which it is a practice throughout the day. It's not like, oh, I meditated in the morning and it's great. No, by the end of the rush hour on your way home, you're going to be flicking someone off, right? Like
Right.
it was not enough.
Exactly.
It did not
Nobody
last.
stays in Zen
Yeah.
100% of the day. Right?
Right. But if, whether you tie it to your meals or every culture has this thing where they pray before they eat. Why? Because it lowers your reaction rate, it helps improve digestion. It's like that fight or flight. It kind of lowers that up. But it's like, can you do that throughout the day? Can you say an affirmation or can you remember to use your oils like tied to every coffee or food break? Every time you
Mm,
eat, you remember, okay, before I eat or drink, I'm also going to do something to calm myself. And
yeah.
that can even be like, even the practice of like putting your hands together in prayer, that does energetically, that does calm you. Like there's reasons behind why we do all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I forget. What's the word for it? Do you know the term for how you position your hands?
Mudra.
Mudra. Yes. Yeah. Is that something that you practice as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the Anjali Mudra.
Okay.
Right. And then this is another one that's really helpful. So I think that they are, again, there's so many tools. It's just about finding the ones that work for you and using them, right? Like you can have 100 tools, but if you use none, it's not going to help.
Mhm. And do you come from a household where your parents were practicing these things, or is this something that was introduced to you later in life?
No, so I definitely saw it, but as a kid, nothing your parents do is cool. So I ignored it
Right.
until I was an adult and I learned about all Indian culture through a lovely Jewish woman named Leslie Glickman.
Oh, wow.
And then I came back to my parents and I was like, oh my gosh, this is why we did all these things. And
Yeah.
it's so wonderful.
Hmm. Yeah, I just had a conversation about this the other day because so many things my dad told me and tried to guide me towards. I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then later on, you just have to let them know that, hey, all those things you told me, they didn't really stick, but I remember them and now they're helping me out, right?
Exactly.
Especially as parents, we have to recognize that. And you have two kids?
Three.
Three. Wow, good for you. Super
Yeah.
mom, doing all these things. And I'm
Trying,
sure
right?
that your home environment is nice and positive as well. Do your kids yet listen to these practices that you try to foster within them?
No, I think just like I didn't think my parents were very cool. I don't they don't think I'm very cool either. So
Yeah.
I've gotten them to come once or twice to yoga and they'll use the oils here and there. But I know that it'll come when they need it. It'll be something that they remember.
Yeah, just as everything, right?
Right.
Yeah. I love how much you talk about frequencies and energy. I recently read a book that just kind of lays out the microcosms of the world and how everything's just kind of the same, but
Yeah,
different shapes, sizes. And
exactly.
yeah, it's so important. It all starts in our mind, right?
It
And then
does.
so having that calming environment with pleasant smells. And
Hmm.
one thing that you said was mind, body, and skin. I always think mind, body, and soul, but I think that even I kind of overlook the importance of our largest organ in our body. And
Yeah.
my wife kind of puts me more on track with that. Women tend to
Yeah.
have better skin care practices, but
They
us
do.
men need to as well. And
It's
on
true.
your site, there's stuff for everybody. And
Yeah.
again, one thing that just really excited me was the spirit quiz. Is that was
Yeah.
soul
The
quiz?
soul quiz, soul
Soul
quiz.
quiz.
Yeah.
is, yes. So I just want to read my results because
Okay.
they were so spot on. It was kind of weird to me. And I've only recently started understanding astrology and kind of these energy transfers. So for me, Blake Jones, the type says manifester, and the
Mm.
strategy says to inform. It
Okay.
says inner authority, emotional definition, single definition, and signature peace, not self theme, anger, digestion cold, sense acceptance, design sense, inner vision, motivation is hope, my perspective is possibility, and my environment is mountains. And I live right next to South Mountain in
Yes.
Arizona, so I can literally see the mountain outside of my window. So it's so interesting. All of those things were very spot on to me. So I would
Yeah.
just invite anyone listening to this to go to ksahai.com and try this soul quiz along with the skin quiz. And what was the third one that you have on
Wellness quiz. It
the
tells you which
wellness
oil is
quiz, of
best for
course?
your health. Yeah. And also, if you look through the blog articles, it'll tell you more about like mountains, the environment, because it's not just about being by mountains. It's that you like to kind of have a better view. And that's it's
Yes.
how do you position yourself to again make sure you're vibrating at the highest frequency and have the most energy. And a
Mhm.
manifestor, it's actually a pretty rare energy type. And so it's a really unique, cool thing. But again, it's interesting that you have a podcast and it is your strategy to inform.
Yeah, everything on there was spot on. And all these other things with horoscopes and whatnot, there's always a little piece where I'm like, I guess. But this was pretty accurate compared to anything I've taken before. So it was really exciting. It just put a smile on my face. And,
That's
it's,
awesome. Well, I'm
yeah.
going to send you your journey. We have 30-day journeys that help you discover a little bit more about your energy type and
Oh,
how
yeah.
to nurture it. And so I'd love for you to experience it.
Yeah, yeah, and then we can follow up. I would love that so
Yeah.
much. So, what's your favorite self-care practice? We talked about essential oils and meditation and movement and, being aware, but what is helping you the most as you operate as a mother and a CEO?
I would say my favorite self-care practice is meditation and ideally followed by yoga. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, yoga and then meditation, because I feel like you
Mhm.
kind of have to move the energy through your body. And then
Yeah.
that's why they have the Shavasana at the end.
Hmm.
Because then you can really settle into a deep meditative practice. So for me, that's really, really nourishing. And I always, use the oils with it. So it really just helps me put me into that heightened state of relaxation. But I do use a lot of things throughout the day. I do, tap and in traffic.
Yeah.
I'm like, practice,
Yeah.
practice,
That
be
one I'm not as
stretching.
familiar with, so I'll have to look into that and see if I can implement it as well.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that a
There's a
newer one
lot.
for you, or have you been using the tap for a while now?
No, tapping has been there for a while. It's really just about, using your fingertips to tap in different spots to
Stimulation.
help.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I think we have to distract our senses for where it goes first, which is usually frustration, annoyance. And
Hmm.
then when we can do that, we kind of recenter to where we are, and
Hmm.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, awesome. So many things that I can start to implement for myself. Now, for these quizzes, there's a gift bundle on your site. Would you suggest that, for instance, if I wanted to buy something for my wife, should I try to do the quiz for her, or is that bundle kind of comprehensive?
The bundle's comprehensive. It's so
Okay.
we have seven main essential oils, and they coordinate with the different chakra that they put into balance. Also, on your human design chart, if you have open centers, you'll see there's like a chart, and those oils will also support the certain open centers that
Oh, I
kind of
see.
help you with programming that might have taken from other people. That's not true because a lot of it's also about getting into better touch with your intuition.
Mm,
But it's a great gift because a lot of them are, I mean, everybody needs something for stress, sleep, detox, breathe,
mhm,
focus,
mhm.
right? So really they're oils that everyone can use. The quiz
Right.
is really like if you're like, oh, I only want one or two, what should I
Yeah.
go for?
That makes
Yeah.
sense. And then so you use the word programming. Ooh, I think people overlook programming as far as our human bodies. We think of
Yes.
computers, but we have this neural network and we're all connected
Correct.
to each other. And we are constantly sending electrical frequencies
Hmm.
within our body. And between electricity and light and sound, all of these waves are so similar, right? And
Correct.
so finding a way to take control of one of those frequencies makes it a lot easier for the rest to be at that higher level along with each other, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And everyone's human design map shows you in what areas of your life you might be more susceptible to taking outside programming. So
Mm.
beliefs that you've taken on that actually are not your own. And so that's always really interesting to look at because you're like, oh, maybe that isn't me. Maybe it's just something that I've been told a lot,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
it's just important to kind of look at that. But yeah, you're right. It's all energy, it's all frequencies, it's all information. And again, is there's this principle of resonance, right? So like when two things are together, like you drop two drops of water, they become one, right? So
Hmm.
as we're, who we're around, the things we're around, the products, everything, it all matters.
Right. Yeah. Your environment is so important. And we can control our environment to an extent. So
We
it's
can.
up to us to at least give an effort. And a lot of times that effort goes a long way, right?
Exactly, exactly. I know. I
Yeah.
always tell people like have something alive, like have some plants, have something alive in your space that you're in
Hmm.
all the time.
Very cool. And then you are in Florida,
That's
correct?
right. Another sunny place like
Nice.
yourself.
Right, right. I'm over here cuddled with my blanket. I'm complaining with the cold. I'm like, we can't turn the heater on in Arizona. We
And
gotta, but
we're doing the same, by the way. It
oh
was like
yeah.
60 and we were dying, but yeah,
That's
so
the life
spoiled.
of living these beautiful places, right? We're spoiled.
That's
I
right.
I wanted to just highlight the fact that are you close to the beach?
Yes.
Yeah. And I know that me personally, I feel very grounded and present when I get to visit the beach. Here in Arizona, we're at
Mm,
the desert and the mountains are a good second
beautiful.
place, but the
Yes,
beach just has so much power behind it. And
it
I
does.
I wonder, I've only seen essential oil use inside. Is it useful to try to use these oils like out in nature?
Oh, yeah. So we do roll-ons because I really think it's very personal, right? So when you put it on your skin, you're smelling it, and it's not necessarily everyone in your area, but
Hmm.
100%. And again, it just adds to that grounding experience, like walking barefoot on the beach. And then you have your oils that help ground you. And so you have a little bit of the plant, and then the
Hmm.
ground, the earth, the water, right? And if it's the
Yeah.
sun, you have the fire. You sort of have all your elements.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes so much more sense. I think that we're just missing that water element out here in Arizona. I'm like, what is missing? That's the
Yeah.
piece there. Yeah, we got plenty of fire from the sun
Right.
and
You do.
plenty of
You do.
ground. Yeah. But having all of that, again, comprehensive health and just trying to check all the boxes and making it part of your routine, right? You don't want it to be
Yeah.
something that you have to stress about because that kind of defeats the
Exactly. Well, and that was
purpose.
the point of the quizzes. It's like, how do we make self-care fun? How do we make it fun to take care of yourself and
Hmm.
not be this like awful thing where everything's in like this amber bottle? And so that's why we tried to have fun with the packaging too. Like it's meant to be as fun as beauty,
Hmm.
just, but it's really for like your soul, your emotions, your body, and your skin.
Awesome. So your products, are they only available online or are they in some stores as well?
So we're in spas.
Okay,
So we're in a
sponges.
lot of spas. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, it's definitely high quality. I wanted to talk to you before I ordered any. I almost ordered some. I was gonna just get the big variety pack because they all I can't see someone not being able to benefit from one of them, right? There might be
Yeah.
certain times that you use one more than the other, but having that variety is important as well,
Yeah, it's like
especially
a
for
medicine cabinet makeover, right? So like next time you have allergies, you're reaching for this, or you have a headache, or you have the flu, right? Like you're helping your body support itself. So that's what we've really tried to do with even our skin stuff. Our body is amazing and it can heal itself. It doesn't need
Mhm.
other things. But a lot of the medications and things we take over the counter hinders our ability to do it ourselves. Whereas these potent plant herbs and, essential oils, they help your body learn to do it itself, right?
Right.
So even if it needs a little more support, you're helping it do itself. And the same thing with the skin. Our skin can exfoliate, moisturize, clean all by itself. But because we put so much stuff, we're kind of disrupting all the little like electrical currents that talk to each other. So we're disrupting
Mhm.
that with all the chemicals that are in our air and in our products. And so it doesn't know what to do. And so these oils are just helping to support the natural health of your skin, your body, so that it can just do what it does naturally.
Yeah, I think we definitely overlook all the toxins we come into contact with on a
Yes.
daily basis. Do you have any suggestions for my audience of things that they may be able to eliminate in conjunction with adding on these essential oils to their practice?
Yeah. So I mean, I always say take one thing a month and look at it, right? Because otherwise it's really, really overwhelming. So
Mhm.
if you just, start with the one thing you think you use the most
Mhm.
and see, can I get a cleaner version of it?
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of it's less. Like I think generally we use too many products. Like we don't need so many different products,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You need one thing for your face, for your body, right? Now it's like not only do we have shampoo and we have conditioner and we have hair masks and we have serums, and then we have a mousse, and then
Serums,
right. And so
collagen.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. Even with the face, it's like, well, then, and then you should exfoliate, and then you should have this, face wash, but then once in a while you should do a mask, but then also you should do, and it's like, really, do you need that many different things? Like
Yeah.
people didn't
Two,
have that and they had
two
beautiful
hours out of
skin.
my 24 going towards
Yeah.
my
Well, not to
skincare.
mention the money and from a sustainability standpoint, right? So there's just, I think, so many reasons why when you switch, you feel good, right? Like intrinsically, I think when we do something that's good for us and good for the planet, we feel good. So it's like a win-win-win.
Yes, certainly. And yeah, you said sustainability a couple of times now. How exactly does K Sahai respect sustainability?
Yeah, so we almost, I would say like 95% of our packaging is all plastic free. So and it's all recyclable. So that's one of the biggest things. We also sustainably farm. So a lot of plants like sage and there's different plants that people are over farming. And so we don't use those, right? So we're
Hmm.
really respectful of sustainable farming practices. We make sure that all of the oils are organic because otherwise you could be thinking you're getting something great, but really it's been sprayed with so many toxins that now you're just
Hmm.
putting that on your body. And so
Right.
more than 95% of it's organic. And if we can't find it, some botanicals we cannot find organic, then they're wildcrafted. But we're always checking for toxicity because then you're just trading one thing for the next. And so I think that's one of the ways. And by only buying that, we're again supporting the initiative of sustainability. And then we also embed impact. So every time you purchase something, you can vote on a project. So we feel like if something good happens here to us, something good should happen somewhere else, like the chain reaction, right? And so you
Yeah.
can vote on a project that supports the UN sustainability goals.
Very cool. Nice. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but you are most definitely a visionary. And just even you choosing to embark on this journey from where you started your career is very admirable. And I get
Oh, thank
excited
you.
because, as a girl dad, I like for my daughter to see people like you that, get into situations where, yeah, it's profitable and you might be able to build the lifestyle that you want, but there's
Mhm.
more purpose behind it, and there's always options, and it's never too late to take a turn and uh,
Absolutely.
start on a new journey. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. We
uh,
have to listen to our inner voice, I think,
mhm,
always.
yeah, yep. And mine speaks very loudly, and sometimes,
That's great.
yeah, yeah, but sometimes we ignore that voice, right? And you have
Yeah,
to sit and be with it and understand
we
why
do.
these things are being said to you, right?
No, I think people 100% ignore their intuition. I mean, you have to wear a ring to tell you if you had a good night's sleep. Like, really, you can't wake up and trust that you did or you didn't. And I just think we need to rely more on it because just like anything else, if you ignore it, it becomes softer and softer. And then we're out of touch. So
Yeah.
I think it's great that you have a loud intuition.
It's interesting you say that because I used to be an Apple Watch person and then I broke mine and I purposefully did not replace it because it only took a couple days for me to realize that, oh, not having it's kind of
Right.
liberating. I
Yeah.
had become so dependent on it and there's all these notifications and it's stealing
Yeah.
so much of your attention and it is hard to be present and aware when we're constantly being stimulated by technology, right?
It is. So sleep is our number one selling product and is the number one reason that customers come to us. And so we get a lot of emails in and they're like, oh, my Aura ring said this. And I'm like, do me a favor. I promise you a good night's sleep, but give me 1 month without the Aura ring. Do
Hmm.
it like you know where your baseline is, right? And I want
Hmm.
you to tell me in a month how you are doing, but in between, please get off of it
Yeah.
and just use the sleep oil, and I would say try to the normal things, stop devices an hour before, legs up the wall is another great one, and then use of the oil. And then in a month, tell me how good you're sleeping. But
Yeah.
every day you're stressing yourself out. And if you're stressing yourself out, it leads to you're not going to get good sleep. Like you're already
Mhm.
starting the morning off like, I didn't sleep, I'm going to be a wreck.
Right,
And that's
right.
the intention you just threw out there.
And like you said, you need to know yourself because the ring could tell you had bad sleep, and
Right.
maybe your sleep wasn't that bad, but the ring told
Right.
you did, and now it's in your head, right?
Now it's in your head. And it's the first thought of the morning, like, because people check
Hmm.
it right away. They're like, how did I sleep? And it's like,
Hmm.
just think about how you slept and let that be.
Right. And you're thinking about it all day, like, oh, I wish I got better sleep last night.
Yeah. No, people
Well,
say it all the time, oh, my ring said I only slept this much. I only got this percentage. And I'm like, please.
hmm. Yeah, and I'm so back and forth because I really am a advocate and believer of technology, and I
Yeah,
understand, collecting data and being able to analyze it and use
totally.
it for benefit, but it's easy to get caught up in the numbers and forget
Totally. No,
about
I'm
the
a
purpose.
total numbers person, which
Hmm.
is why I'm never like toss it. I'm like take it, but then try what you're trying, give it a good 30 days
Hmm.
and then look at it again, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to check, once a month, even once a week, every 2 weeks, but like the everyday, I don't think it gives you the right information. It's almost like
Every hour.
analysis paralysis, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
stressed. Like,
Yeah.
I
And
was like, well,
I,
if you weren't, you are now, right?
right, exactly. Yeah. And we're just so connected. The connection's good. It gives us the opportunity to talk from
Correct.
Arizona to Florida, right? But
Right.
everything in moderation. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Natural is always going to be my go-to.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And I think we're starting to see that more and more, right? Even we feel connected through all this, but it is the in-person connection that we need, truly. And so I think what was old, will become new again.
Yeah.
It's like it's all kind of circling back, right?
Just like everything, the
Just like
ebbs and
everything.
flows. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you mentioned AI. Is that something that you recently implemented into your site for those questionnaires, or has that been there since the beginning?
No, so that's probably been there for about 6 months. It
Okay.
was something that I've always used oils in, I shouldn't say always. I would say for the most part, I'd always used oils. And then once I got introduced into the industry, I only used
Mhm.
plant oils just because they have so many more benefits of, again, supporting your skin's natural. And it's just as much performance as a lot of the chemicals and things that people are selling. And so once I realized that, I'm like, okay, there's formulation. But then what I realized is we're all different.
Mhm.
So this one size fits all doesn't work when you've got this tiny little bottle. Like it's just not going to. And so that's when AI was also becoming more popular. It was a little bit more accessible to understand how we could create an algorithm, which we then
Mhm.
also had outside parties verify that like all the formulations and everything worked well
Right.
together. But since then, it's been great. It's honestly one of our top selling products because after sleep, I would say it's our custom face oil because people can really see the difference based on what they need.
Yeah. I might need to check that out. I don't have a skincare routine. I just wash with water and go on with my day.
But that's fine. That means your skin's able, I mean, you look like you have beautiful skin. So that's our point. The point is that if your skin is doing what it needs to do, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. But
Mm.
if you find that you've got a couple different products you're using because you're trying to, you're using one for aging and one for spots and one for hyperpigmentation, right? Just
Mhm. One
you
for
could just,
dryness, one for,
right, one
yeah.
for dryness. So it could just be one. Like I
Yeah.
just use oil for cleaning and for moisturizing. Like it's just a one and done.
And were you like a big supplement and product person prior to finding these oils that fill in a lot of gaps?
So I was never a big supplement person because I always had a hard time swallowing pills. So the oils I
Hmm.
think resonated with me for that. But I did take them just because I was feeling so bad at that time that I really
Hmm.
did try everything. But I think the bioavailability of most supplements it's really limited.
Yeah.
So you really do want to try to get it in any case in the liquid form. And I was actually not a big product person, but I had a lot of products because people were always giving them
Yeah.
to
So you're trying random stuff.
So I was trying all kinds of random stuff,
Yeah.
and I didn't really find it wasn't like anything's going to make you give you that filter look, which is I think what social kind of sells. And so really at the end of the day, I'm like, I want healthy skin. And if that was everyone's goal, then you're going to eat a good diet and you're going to use sort of a skincare that's going to support your skin's natural ability.
Right. And then how your skin feels is even more important than how it looks, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So all of this is bringing us back into just self-awareness and intuition, which I think is, like you said, growing in popularity. But as with many things in society, there's almost this divide. There's a group of people that are really embracing it and making it
That's right.
better. And there's a group of people that are neglecting it even more so, I feel. So being grounded in little practices like this is definitely beneficial towards trying to close that gap and make everybody grow with it,
Right.
right?
Right. Trying to
Yeah.
just make it really approachable. Like you could add it to your current routine or it could be your standalone. Like it just depends on what you need. But I think a lot of the promises of performance skincare, like whether it's acne or all of this, it can all be addressed with plant botanicals.
Along with just a good, healthy diet that includes
Correct.
plants, right?
And yeah, and that's no matter what, right? So
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of what we learned about eating, like at one point everything was like microwavable dinners was like the whole rage, right? And now
Hmm.
we're back to like, oh, we should have whole plants and the
Yeah.
ingredients shouldn't have more than two to three. I think that hopefully we're going to start to see that with beauty products too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we don't need all these other chemicals that we don't know the name of, right? Like the same way, like our skin has a microbiome, just like our gut does. And so, in the same way, I think we're going to see people being like, oh, yeah, the skin microbiome. How do we support that? Just how we do
Hmm.
with the gut. And then again, it comes back to natural plant extracts or
Yeah.
food.
I think of just how much better I feel after a shower. Sometimes you wake up and you don't feel great, but then you take a shower and it's like, oh wow, that was the boost I needed, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So
Because it's all the
simple.
chemicals that are coming off. And I know a lot of women who'll say, like,
Mhm.
oh, my face feels tired from the makeup. Well, yeah, because it's clogging all your pores and your whole skin
Yeah.
microbiome, right? So
And you don't sell any cosmetic products, right?
I don't know.
No, okay. And I mean, because yeah, there's not really many of those that align with your brand as far as like the health of your skin.
Yeah,
There's cleansers, but as far as makeup, most of that's not going to benefit you other than the appearance, right?
that's
And
right.
it's a
That's right.
temporary appearance, and it's
It,
the
and there's nothing wrong
core.
with that. It's, and it brings people a lot of confidence and I completely get it. It just, yeah, for us, it was really about how do we bring the natural beauty, natural wellness, supporting your natural system to feel and look as vibrant as you can. And then, you want long lashes and all the things, more power to
Right.
you, right?
Right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So what's next for K Sahai? Are you guys just kind of where you want to be? Are you continuously trying to find new spas to get involved with? How is that going?
Yeah, so I think the spa market is definitely where we'd love to be in all the different spas and we'd love for them to integrate some of our soul practices as well. So we're working on them in integrating these events so that people can learn
Okay.
more about their design. And so it becomes more of an experiential thing because I think when you introduce a ritual, then you're going to get people to use it more. So again, you can give people what they need, but if they don't use it, if you don't find a fun way to engage the customer, I think that's where you lose them. And so I think that's really the next thing is really creating these experiential services and products around it.
Yeah, that makes sense because you can buy the oils and read how to use it, but it still
Right.
doesn't exactly give you the
Exactly.
blueprint of how to implement
Right.
it the best way that you can, right?
Correct. But each of them have an affirmation on the box. So now if I'm like, okay, read your affirmation, rub the oils to activate the molecules, take a
Yeah.
deep breath. Right now you have this little ritual that you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that.
Okay, I love that. I recently was just talking to a friend, and affirmations are something that I've heard about a lot, and I haven't really incorporated them into my life. So I just started them really a week ago. And it's
Yeah,
funny, part of my affirmation, obviously, is wealth generation. And
sure.
the day after I started it, somebody left a $5 bill on my windshield of my car. So I was like, okay, I think this stuff works.
It does. It's amazing because again, you're focusing your energy where you want. And that's why I say words are so important. If you wake up and you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't sleep good," you're putting that out, right? You're putting
Mhm.
that energy out versus just being like, "I am well rested." You're automatically going to be like, "Okay, I'm going to resonate at that level."
Yeah, you have power to at least make yourself think you're in a better situation than you are, right? And
Yeah,
some people talk about imposter syndrome, and you don't want to lie
correct.
to yourself. But if you are putting in the effort to get the good sleep, then you have to give yourself some grace in what the outcome is, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You'll never be perfect.
If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here, right? We're all here to learn something.
Right. That's what makes life fun, the imperfections of it
Exactly.
all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool. So ksahai.com
Yep.
and most of the spas that you're involved with in the Florida area or the along the East Coast or where are you
Mostly
located?
along the East Coast, but I got to come
Yeah.
to Arizona. I got to visit my family out there.
Oh, you have family out here. Oh, yeah. You'll definitely have to come through. Don't
Yes,
wait too long because it's going to get hot before you know
I
it.
know.
Yeah. Are they in the Phoenix area?
They are. They are
Oh, very
Scottsdale.
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I would love to connect with you in person. And if you come out this
Likewise.
way, yeah, you just let me know. And I look forward to trying your products and hopefully we'll get them into some spas nearby out here because we have plenty
Perfect.
of beautiful spas in Arizona for you to choose from as
I'm
well.
sure. Well, I would love that. And I look forward to hearing your experience.
Yeah, I will definitely let you know. And these essential oils, as I try them, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna contact you and give you some feedback because I just like to, give everybody the true experience that I have with their products, whether it's the books that they've written or the speeches they've given. As I build connections with people, I think that our evaluations of things they can be different once we have
Yeah,
a
of
little level
course.
of personal connection and
Absolutely.
it's always nice to hear feedback from people that have kind of went a little deeper into what it is we're trying to create, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I look forward to
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer today. I'll include your link in my bio, and I would love if you do let me know when you're out in Arizona.
I will. I
Yeah.
will for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Miss Kavita Sahai. I appreciate you meeting with me. We had to reschedule a couple of times. I'll let everyone know that the time difference does not change in Arizona. We're the only
Yes, sorry.
ones. No, don't apologize. This is a PSA for everybody. We always have
Mm,
the same time, but that's why it's perfect here. You don't have to worry about
that's
it.
right.
And then your
Yeah,
sleep doesn't get
I
disrupted.
know. Trust me, when my
Right.
kids were little, it was my biggest pet peeve, the time change.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Well, thank you so much and say hello to those beautiful little children for me.
Thank you.